Everyone knows about Michael Jordan's famous championship shot in 1982. Everyone knows about his 6 NBA titles and legendary career. But nobody knows the real story behind his greatness. It started with 4 crushing words that broke a 15-year-old boy's heart. "You don't deserve to play." That night, alone in his bedroom, Michael Jordan made a secret promise. Not just to prove his coach wrong, not just to make the team next year. Something much bigger. Something that would drive him for years and change basketball forever. This is the true story of how rejection created a legend. How doubt became fuel. How the worst day of Michael Jordan's life became the best thing that ever happened to him. And how a secret promise whispered in the darkness of a small bedroom in North Carolina would eventually be fulfilled in front of 61,000 screaming fans and millions watching around the world. But first, we have to go back to where it all began. Back to that October morning in 1978, when a skinny sophomore walked into his high school gym with dreams in his heart and hope in his eyes. Back to the day that changed everything. The autumn air in Wilmington, North Carolina, felt crisp and full of hope. That October morning in 1978, 15-year-old Michael Jeffrey Jordan walked through the halls of Emsley A. Laney High School with butterflies dancing in his stomach. Today was the day. The varsity basketball roster would be posted outside Coach Clifton "Pop" Herring's office. Michael had been dreaming of this moment all summer long. Every morning run along the Cape Fear River. Every afternoon shooting baskets until his fingers bled. Every evening doing push-ups in his tiny bedroom on Gordon Road. It all led to this single piece of paper that would change his life forever. Or so he thought. The hallway buzzed with nervous energy as dozens of hopeful boys crowded around the bulletin board. Michael pushed through the crowd, his heart beating so loud he could hear it in his ears. "Excuse me," he said politely, squeezing between 2 seniors. "Can I just see the lit?" The white paper hung there like a judge ready to deliver a verdict. Michael's eyes scanned the names once, then twice, then a third time, slower now, making sure he didn't miss anything. Anderson, James. Barnes, Robert. Davis, Kevin. Johnson, Marcus. Smith, Leroy. Williams, Tommy. 12 names total. His name wasn't there. His best friend Leroy Smith's name was on the list. Leroy was taller and stronger, but Michael knew he was a better basketball player. At least he thought he was. "Mike," Leroy called out, a huge grin on his face. "I made it, man. I made varsity." Michael forced a smile. "That's great, Roy. You deserve it." But inside, Michael felt like someone had punched him in the chest and stolen all his air. He walked slowly to Coach Herring's office. The door was open. Coach Herring sat behind his metal desk, looking at papers and sipping coffee from a cracked mug. "Coach Herring?" Michael's voice came out smaller than he wanted. The coach looked up. Clifton Herring had been coaching basketball at Laney for 15 years. He was a good man who cared about his players, but he believed in tough love and hard truths. "Yes, Jordan. What can I do for you?" "Sir, I think there might be a mistake with the roster." Coach Herring set down his coffee mug. "What kind of mistake?" "Well, my name's not on the varsity list. I was hoping maybe you forgot to put it up there." Coach Herring studied Michael for a long moment. The boy was skinny as a rail, maybe 5'10" on a good day, and weighed about 150 pounds soaking wet. He had quick hands and good instincts. But high school varsity basketball was a man's game. "Michael, there's no mistake. You didn't make the varsity team." The words hit Michael like a sledgehammer. "But coach, I worked so hard this summer. I stayed after practice every single day last year. I ran every morning. Son, I know you worked hard. I respect that about you. But working hard doesn't always mean you're ready." Michael's voice started to shake. "What do you mean, I'm not ready?" Coach Herring stood up and walked around his desk. He put his hand on Michael's shoulder, not unkindly, but firmly. "Michael, look at yourself. You're 5'10" and you weigh maybe 150 pounds. The boys on varsity are bigger, stronger, and more mature. Leroy Smith is 6'2" and weighs 180 pounds. He's physically ready for this level. But I'm faster than Leroy. And I can jump higher. Maybe so. But basketball isn't just about being fast or jumping high. It's about being able to handle contact, fight through screens, and play against boys who are almost grown men." Michael felt tears trying to push up behind his eyes, but he fought them back. He wouldn't cry. Not here. Not in front of Coach Herring. "Coach, please, give me a chance. Let me practice with the varsity team. I'll prove I belong." Coach Herring shook his head slowly. "Michael, I'm going to tell you something, and I want you to listen carefully. Right now, today, you don't deserve to play at the varsity level. You're not ready physically, and you're not ready mentally." Those words burned into Michael's brain like someone had pressed a hot iron against his thoughts. "You don't deserve to play." "But coach..." "Michael, that's my final decision. You'll play JV this year, with Coach Lynch. Work hard, get stronger, and maybe next year you'll be ready." Michael nodded slowly. His throat felt tight, like someone was squeezing it with their fist. "Yes, sir, Coach Herring. Thank you for your time." He turned and walked out of the office, his legs feeling wobbly beneath him. The rest of the school day passed in a blur. Michael sat through English class, math class, and history class without hearing a single word his teachers said. All he could hear was Coach Herring's voice echoing in his head. "You don't deserve to play." When the final bell rang, Michael walked to his locker and grabbed his books. Other kids were talking and laugh, but everything sounded far away, like he was underwater. The bus ride home felt like the longest 30 minutes of his life. He stared out the window at the familiar neighborhoods of Wilmington, but nothing looked the same anymore. His house on Gordon Road was small but filled with love. His father, James Jordan, worked at General Electric. His mother, Dolores, worked at a bank. They had 5 children total, and money was always tight, but they made it work through faith, hard work, and taking care of each other. Michael walked through the front door and dropped his backpack on the floor. "Michael," his mother called from the kitchen. "How did basketball tryouts go, baby?" The question he'd been dreading. Michael walked into the kitchen where his mother was stirring a pot of soup on the stove. The smell of chicken and vegetables normally made his mouth water, but today his stomach felt like it was full of rocks. "I didn't make varsity, Mama." Dolores Jordan stopped stirring and turned around. She was a strong woman who had taught her children that failure was just a chance to try harder. "What did the coach say?" Michael's voice cracked a little. "He said I don't deserve to play." His little sister Roslyn looked up from her homework at the kitchen table. "That's not true, Michael. You're the best basketball player I ever saw." "Thanks, Roz. But apparently I'm not good enough for Coach Herring." His father, James, walked in from the living room where he'd been reading the newspaper. "Son, what exactly did the coach tell you?" "He said I'm too small and too weak. He said I'm not ready physically or mentally. He said I don't deserve to play at the varsity level." James Jordan put his arm around his son's shoulders. "Michael, sometimes in life, people are going to tell you things that hurt. The question is, what are you going to do with that hurt?" "I don't know, Dad." "Well, you can let it break you down, or you can let it build you up. Choice is yours." That night at dinner, the family tried to keep the conversation light, but Michael barely touched his food. His mind kept playing Coach Herring's words over and over again. "You don't deserve to play." After dinner, Michael went to his small bedroom. He shared it with his older brother, Larry, who was already in bed reading a comic book. "Sorry about varsity, Mike," Larry said without looking up from his comic. "It's okay, I'll make it next year." "You sure about that?" Michael looked at his brother. "What do you mean?" "I mean, maybe Coach Herring is right. Maybe you're just not cut out for basketball." The words stung worse coming from his own brother. Michael turned off the light and lay down on his narrow bed. The house grew quiet around him. Outside, he could hear cars driving by on Gordon Road and dogs barking in the distance. But inside his head, it was anything but quiet. "You don't deserve to play." The words echoed again and again, each time cutting deeper. In the darkness of his bedroom, 15-year-old Michael Jordan made a promise. It wasn't the promise most people would expect. It wasn't just a promise to work harder or get better or make the team next year. It was a secret promise. A promise so personal and so powerful that it would drive every single thing he did for the next 4 years. A promise that would change not just his life but the entire world of basketball. But that promise would remain his secret, burning inside him like a flame that would never go out. As sleep finally came, Michael Jordan whispered the promise to himself one more time. Then he closed his eyes and began dreaming of the day when he would fulfill it. The day when Coach Herring would understand that those crushing words had created something far more powerful than either of them could have imagined. The next morning came too soon. Michael Jordan woke up hoping the whole thing had been a bad dream. But when he opened his eyes in the gray October light, reality hit him like a cold slap. He was a JV player now. At breakfast, his mother, Dolores, put a plate of scrambled eggs and toast in front of him. "Eat up, baby. You're gonna need your strength for JV practice today." Michael pushed the eggs around his plate. "I'm not really hungry, Mama." "Michael Jeffrey Jordan, you listen to me." His mother sat down across from him, her voice gentle but firm. "Yesterday was hard. Today is a new day. What matters now is what you do next." His father, James, looked up from his newspaper. "Your mama's right, son. You can sit around feeling sorry for yourself, or you can use this as fuel." "Fuel for what, Dad?" "Fuel to prove them wrong." 20 minutes later, Michael walked through the doors of Laney High School. Everything looked different now. The hallways seemed darker. The other students seemed to be whispering about him. "Hey, Jordan," called out Tommy Williams, a senior on the varsity team. "Sorry you didn't make it, man. Maybe next year." Michael nodded politely, but inside something was changing. The hurt from yesterday was transforming into something else. Something harder. Something that burned. After school, Michael reported to the gym for JV practice. Coach Fred Lynch was waiting with 11 other boys who didn't make varsity. Some looked disappointed. Others looked relieved just to be playing basketball. Michael looked determined. "Gentlemen," Coach Lynch announced, "I know some of you are here because you didn't make varsity. That's okay. What matters now is how hard you work and how much you improve." Coach Lynch was a good man in his 40s who had played college basketball. He understood that JV wasn't just about developing skills. It was about building character. "We're gonna start with conditioning," Coach Lynch said. "Line up for suicides." Suicide sprints were the worst drill in basketball. Players had to run from baseline to free throw line and back, then baseline to half court and back, then baseline to the far free throw line and back, then baseline to baseline. It was torture. The whistle blew. Michael exploded off the line like a rocket. While other players jogged through the drill, Michael sprinted every single step. When they finished the first suicide, Michael was already ready for the second one. "Jordan, pace yourself," Coach Lynch called out. "We're doing 10 of these." "Yes, sir, Coach." But Michael didn't slow down. Not on the second suicide. Not on the 5th. Not on the 10th. When practice ended 2 hours later, most of the players were exhausted and ready to go home. Michael walked up to Coach Lynch. "Coach, can I stay and practice some more?" Coach Lynch studied the skinny sophomore. "Michael, we just practiced for 2 hours. Don't you think that's enough?" "No, sir. I don't." "What do you want to work on?" "Everything." Coach Lynch checked his watch. It was 5:30 p.m. He had dinner plans with his wife. But something in Michael's eyes made him change his mind. "Okay, Jordan, you can stay until 6 o'clock, but you have to lock up when you're done." "Thank you, Coach. I won't let you down." For the next 30 minutes, Michael practiced alone in the empty gym. He shot free throws until his arms ached. He dribbled between his legs and behind his back until the moves felt natural. He ran layup drills from both sides of the basket. The custodian, Mr. Willie Davis, came in to clean the gym. "Boy, what you still doing here?" Mr. Davis asked. "Practice ended a half hour ago." Michael stopped dribbling. "Just working on my game, Mr. Davis." "Why are you working so hard? It's just JV basketball." Michael looked at the older man. "Mr. Davis, someone told me yesterday that I don't deserve play basketball. And what do you think about that?" "I think they're wrong, and I'm gonna prove it." Mr. Davis smiled. "Well then, you better keep working." This became Michael's routine. Every day after JV practice, he stayed an extra hour. Every morning before school, he came early to shoot baskets. On weekends, he practiced in his backyard on the hoop his father had built. His brother Larry noticed the change immediately. "Mike, you're acting crazy. You practice basketball all the time now." "I'm not crazy, Larry, I'm focused." "Focused on what?" Michael thought about the secret promise he had made in his bedroom. Focused on becoming better than anyone thought possible. The first JV game arrived in November. Michael was nervous but excited. This was his chance to show everyone what he could do. The opposing team was from New Hanover High School, across town. Their JV team had 3 players who were almost 6 feet tall. In the locker room before the game, Coach Lynch gave his speech. "Gentlemen, this is our first game. Let's show them what Laney basketball is all about. The gym was only half full. Most people came to watch varsity games, not JV. But Michael's parents were there. Sitting in the third row, the game started, and Michael played like his life depended on it. He scored the first basket on a fast break layup. Then he stole the ball and scored again. By halftime, he had 18 points. "Jordan, slow down," Coach Lynch said during halftime. "This is a team game." "Yes, sir, Coach. But we need to win." "Why is winning so important to you?" Michael thought about Coach Herring upstairs, probably watching the varsity team warm up. Because losing isn't an option anymore. In the second half, Michael scored 16 more points. Final score, Laney 78, New Hanover 65. Michael finished with 34 points. After the game, his parents waited for him outside the locker room. "Michael, that was amazing," his mother said, hugging him tight. "Thanks, Mama." His father shook his hand. "Son, where did that come from?" "I don't know, Dad. It just felt right." But Michael did know where it came from. It came from the secret promise. It came from the fire that Coach Herring's words had lit inside him. Walking to the parking lot, Michael looked up at the gym windows. Somewhere up there, Coach Herring was probably getting ready for the varsity game. "Coach, I hope you were watching," Michael thought. Because this is just the beginning. At home that night, Michael sat at his small desk and opened a notebook. He had started keeping a journal to track his progress. November 15, 1978. First JV game, scored 34 points. "We won by 13. I felt different out there tonight. Stronger, faster, more confident. But I know I can get better. I have to get better. The promise I made won't fulfill itself. Coach Herring thinks I don't deserve to play. But what he doesn't understand is that his words didn't break me. They built me. Every time I feel tired, I remember what he said. Every time I want to quit, I remember the promise. I can't tell anyone about the promise yet. It's too soon, but someday when I'm ready, Coach Herring will understand what he created that day in his office." Michael closed the notebook and got ready for bed. Tomorrow was another day of practice. Another day to get stronger, faster, better. Outside his window, the stars shone bright over Wilmington. Michael looked up at them and whispered the secret prayers one more time. Then he went to sleep, dreaming of the day when everyone would know his name. The day when Coach Herring would realize that telling Michael Jordan he didn't deserve to play was the best thing that ever happened to basketball. The fire had started. Now it was time to let it burn. Spring came early to Wilmington in 1979. The dogwood trees bloomed pink and white along Gordon Road, and the air smelled like fresh possibilities. But Michael Jordan barely noticed the changing seasons. He was too busy changing himself. The JV season had ended with Michael averaging 28 points per game. Local newspapers started writing small articles about the skinny sophomore sensation from Laney High School. But Michael didn't read the articles. He was focused on something bigger. Summer vacation meant freedom for most 15-year-old boys. Time for swimming, fishing, hanging out at the mall, or playing video games at the arcade. For Michael, summer meant opportunity. "Michael, you need to take a break," his mother, Dolores, said one morning in June. "You've been practicing basketball every single day since school ended." Michael was lacing up his sneakers, getting ready for his morning run. "Mama, I can't take a break." "Not yet." "Why not, baby?" Michael thought about the secret promise burning inside him like a constant flame. "Because I'm not where I need to be yet." His father, James, looked up from his coffee. "Son, where exactly do you need to be?" "I need to be good enough that no one ever questions whether I deserve to play again." After breakfast, Michael began his daily routine. It was the same every single day, 7 days a week. 6:00 a.m. Wake up and drink a tall glass of milk. 6:15 a.m. Eat 2 scrambled eggs and toast. 6:30 a.m. Run 3 miles through the neighborhoods of Wilmington. 7:30 a.m. Come home, shower, and rest for 30 minutes. 8:00 a.m. Walk to Laney High School. The gym was open for summer programs. 8:30 a.m. Shooting practice for 2 hours. 10:30 a.m. Weightlifting in the small school. Weight room. 12:00 p.m. Lunch break. Usually a peanut butter sandwich. 1:00 p.m. Ball handling drills and footwork. 3:00 p.m. Play pickup games with whoever showed up. 5:00 p.m. Go home for dinner. 7:00 p.m. Practice in his backyard until it got too dark to see. The routine was brutal, but Michael never missed a day. Rain or shine, tired or energetic, he stuck to his schedule like his life depended on it. Other kids started calling him crazy. "Jordan's lost his mind," said Marcus Webb, a junior who sometimes played pickup games at the school. "All he does is practice basketball. Maybe he's trying to make varsity next year," suggested another player. "Man, he already dominates JV. What more does he need to prove?" But Michael wasn't trying to prove anything to Marcus Webb or the other kids. The secret promise had nothing to do with impressing teenagers. It was about something much more important. The most noticeable change wasn't Michael's skills, though they were getting sharper every day. The most noticeable change was his body. By July, Michael had grown 2 inches. He was now 6 foot tall and weighed 165 pounds. The skinny, weak boy who got cut from varsity was disappearing. In his place was emerging a young man with broad shoulders, strong legs, and hands that seemed to get bigger every week. His brother Larry noticed the change during their evening one-on-one games in the backyard. "Mike, you're getting stronger," Larry admitted after losing a close game 11. "I'm getting everythinger," Michael replied, shooting a free throw on their crooked backyard rim. Everythinger isn't a word. It is now. The backyard games with Larry became legendary on Gordon Road. Neighbors would come outside to watch the Jordan brothers battle. Michael was getting better, but Larry was still older and more experienced. "You're good, little brother," Larry said one evening after winning 11-7. "But you're not good enough to beat me yet." Michael retrieved the ball and walked to the free throw line they had painted on the concrete. "Yet is the important word in that sentence, Larry." "What do you mean?" "I mean someday I will be good enough. And when that day comes, you'll never beat me again." Larry laughed. "That's a pretty bold prediction." Michael made the free throw, then looked his brother in the eye. "It's not a prediction, Larry. It's a promise." But Larry didn't know about the other promise. The secret one that drove Michael harder than anything else. In August, something amazing happened. Coach Herring asked Michael to practice with the varsity team. "Jordan, I want you to come to varsity practice next week," Coach Herring said after watching Michael dominate a pickup game. Michael's heart jumped, but he kept his voice calm. "Yes, sir, Coach Herring." "What time?" 3 o'clock. "And Jordan?" "Yes, sir." "Don't think this means you've made the team. I just want to see how you handle practicing against bigger, stronger players." "I understand, Coach." But inside, Michael was screaming with excitement. This was his chance to show Coach Herring how much he had changed. The first varsity practice was like entering a different world. The players were bigger, faster, and stronger than anyone Michael had played against. Tommy Williams, the senior captain, was now 6'5" and 90 pounds. Most of the other players were over 6 feet tall. "Look who's back," Tommy said when Michael walked into the gym. "Baby Jordan." "I'm not a baby anymore, Tommy." Tommy looked Michael up and down. The skinny sophomore was now a muscular 6-footed junior with confidence in his eyes. "We'll see about that, Jordan." Coach Herring blew his whistle. "Gentlemen, we're gonna scrimmage today. Jordan, you're on the white team with the younger players." The scrimmage began, and Michael played like he had been struck by lightning. Every drill he had practiced alone, every shot he had taken in his backyard, every mile he had run that summer. It all came together. He stole the ball from Tommy Williams and scored on a fast break. He grabbed a rebound over a player 4 inches taller than him. He hit 3 straight jump shots from different spots on the court. By the end of practice, the gym was completely quiet. Even Tommy Williams was staring at Michael with respect. Coach Herring called Michael over after practice ended. "Jordan, what happened to you this summer?" "I got better, Coach." "How much better?" Michael thought about the secret promise, about all the hours of practice, about the fire that burned inside him every single day. "Coach, I got good enough that you'll never question whether I deserve to play again." Coach Herring studied Michael's face. The boy's eyes were different now, harder, more focused, more mature. "Jordan, you've earned a spot on the varsity roster." Michael nodded calmly. "Thank you, Coach Herring." But inside, his heart was exploding with joy. Phase 1 of the secret promise was complete. That night, Michael sat at his desk and wrote in his journal, August 28, 1979. "Made varsity. Coach Herring said I earned my spot. But this is just the beginning. The real promise isn't about making a high school basketball team. It's about something much bigger, something that will take years to accomplish. I can't tell anyone yet what I really promised that night in my bedroom. But every day I get a little bit closer. Every practice, every game, every moment brings me closer to the day when I can fulfill what I swore I would do. Coach Herring thinks he's seen me transform this summer. But he hasn't seen anything yet. The fire that started with his words is just getting warmed up. Michael closed the journal and looked out his window at the stars above Wilmington. Somewhere out there was his destiny. Somewhere out there was the moment when he would finally reveal the secret promise and show the world what those crushing words had really created. The transformation was complete. Now the real journey could begin. The first day of varsity practice felt different than anything Michael Jordan had ever experienced. Walking into that gym wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was about proving that the skinny sophomore who got cut a year ago had become someone completely new. September 15, 1979. The date was burned into Michael's memory forever. Coach Herring stood in the center of the court, his whistle hanging around his neck like a judge's gavel. 15 players stretched on the polished hardwood floor, but only 12 would survive the final cuts. "Gentlemen," Coach Herring announced, his voice echoing in the gym, "some of you played varsity last year. Some of you are here for the first time. But everyone starts equal today. Show me who deserves to wear a Laney uniform." Michael tied his sneakers extra tight. His hands were steady now, but his heart hammered against his ribs like it was trying to break free. Tommy Williams, now the senior captain, glanced over at Michael. Well, Jordan's back for round 2. "This isn't round 2, Tommy," Michael replied quietly. "This is round 1. Last year never happened." The first drill was suicide sprints. Michael had run thousands of these over the summer, but this time felt different. This time everyone was watching. The whistle pierced the air. Michael exploded off the baseline like a rocket ship launching into space. By the third sprint, half the players were gasping for air and holding their sides. Michael looked like he had just started warming up. "Holy cow," whispered Jimmy Patterson, a junior forward. "Jordan's a machine." Coach Herring watched with sharp eyes. The boy who had been too weak and slow just 1 year ago was now leading every sprint by 10 feet. Next came shooting drills. Michael walked to the free throw line and the gym grew quiet. Everyone remembered what happened here last year. The ball felt perfect in his hands. His shooting form looked smooth and confident. Swish. The first free throw dropped through the net like it was pulled by a magnet. Swish. The second one followed the exact same path. By the time he finished, Michael had made 15 straight free throws without touching the rim. "Move back to the three-point line," Coach Herring called out. This was new territory. Three-point shooting wasn't common in high school basketball yet, but Michael had been practicing long shots all summer. The first three-pointer felt good, leaving his hands. Swish. The second one was even better. Swish. 5 straight three-pointers. The other players stopped their own drills to watch. Marcus Webb, a returning senior, shook his head in amazement. "Where did this come from, Jordan?" "Hard work," Michael said simply. But inside, he thought about the secret promise that drove every shot he had practiced. The real test came during scrimmage time. Coach Herring divided the 15 players into 3 teams. Michael found himself on the young team with 2 other juniors and 2 sophomores. "Let's see what you learned on JV, Jordan," Tommy Williams said as they lined up for the opening tip. At 6'5" and 200 pounds, Tommy was still bigger and stronger than Michael. But size wasn't everything anymore. The ball went up for the opening tip. Michael didn't win it, but he didn't need to. As soon as the other team got possession, he turned into a basketball tornado. He pressed the ball handler full court, forcing a turnover. He stole the pass and raced down court for an easy layup. He grabbed rebounds over players 4 inches taller. He hit jump shots from every spot on the court. With 5 minutes left in the scrimmage, Michael's team was down 45-38. In pickup games all summer, he had learned something important about himself. Pressure made him better, not worse. "Time to take over," Michael whispered to himself. He stole the next 3 passes in a row, scoring after each steal. He blocked a shot by Tommy Williams, grabbed the rebound, and scored on the other end. He hit a three-pointer with Tommy's hand in his face. The gym was completely silent except for the squeaking of sneakers and the bouncing of the basketball. With 30 seconds left, the score was tied 51-51. Tommy Williams had the ball and was posting up Michael near the basket. "You still don't belong here, Jordan," Tommy said, trying to back Michael down. Michael planted his feet and refused to move. "Yes, I do." He stripped the ball from Tommy cleanly, no foul, and dribbled to the other end of the court. 20 seconds left. 15 seconds. 10 seconds. Michael pulled up for a jump shot from the top of the key. The ball seemed to hang in the air forever. Swish. His team won. The gym exploded with cheers from the other players. Even Tommy Williams was clapping. Coach Herring blew his whistle to end practice. "Hit the showers, gentlemen. I'll post the final roster tomorrow morning." As the players headed to the locker room, Coach Herring called Michael over. "Jordan, that was quite a performance." "Thank you, Coach. What's different about you? Last year you were just another hopeful kid. Now you play like you're fighting for something important." Michael looked Coach Herring directly in the eyes. He almost told him about the secret promise right then and there. Instead, he said, "Someone told me I didn't deserve to play basketball. I decided to prove them wrong." "And have you? Proved them wrong, I mean?" Michael picked up a basketball and dribbled it slowly. "Not yet, Coach. Not even close." Coach Herring looked puzzled. Michael had clearly earned his spot on the team, but something deeper was driving this young man. That evening at dinner, the Jordan family was buzzing with excitement. "How did practice go, baby?" his mother Dolores asked. "Good, Mama. Real good." His father James smiled proudly. "You seem different, son. More confident." "I feel different, Dad. Like I finally know who I'm supposed to be." His little sister Roslyn looked up from her mashed potatoes. "Are you gonna make the team this time?" "I think so, Ross. But making the team is just the first step." "First step to what?" asked his brother Larry. Michael thought about the secret promise. About the real reason he had worked so hard. About the plan that was still forming in his mind. First step to something bigger than any of us can imagine right now. Later that night, Michael sat at his small desk and opened his journal. The words flowed out of him like water from a broken dam. September 15, 1979. First varsity practice. Dominated the scrimmage. Tommy Williams couldn't stop me. Coach Herring looked impressed. But this is still just the beginning. I can feel the secret promise getting stronger inside me every day. It's like a fire that never goes out. Every time I think about what Coach Herring said that day in his office, "You don't deserve to play," the fire burns hotter. But the promise isn't really about proving Coach Herring wrong. It's bigger than that. Much bigger. It's about proving something to the whole world. Something that will take years to accomplish. I can't tell anyone yet what I really promised that night. But someday, when I'm ready, everyone will understand what those crushing words created. Coach Herring thinks he knows me now, but he has no idea what's coming. The transformation is complete. The proving ground is ready. Now the real journey begins. Michael closed the journal and walked to his window. Outside, the lights of Wilmington twinkled like stars. Somewhere out there was his destiny waiting for him. The next morning, he would find his name on the varsity roster. But that was just the beginning of a story that would change basketball forever. A story that started with a secret promise made by a heartbroken 15-year-old boy who refused to accept that he didn't deserve to play. The fire was burning brighter than ever. And Michael Jordan was just getting started. The morning of September 16, 1979 felt like Christmas morning to Michael Jordan. He walked to school 30 minutes early, his heart beating fast with excitement and worry. The varsity roster would be posted outside Coach Herring's office at 7:30 a.m. sharp. Michael wasn't the only one waiting. 6 other players stood in the hallway, all hoping their names would be on that white piece of paper. The air felt thick with nervous energy. At exactly 7:30, Coach Herring emerged from his office with the roster in his hand. He taped it to the bulletin board without saying a word, then disappeared back into his office. The boys rushed forward like hungry wolves. Michael forced himself to read slowly this time. He had learned not to get his hopes up too quickly. Laney High School varsity basketball team. Anderson, James, Senior Davis, Kevin, Senior Johnson, Marcus, Senior Jordan, Michael Jr. Patterson, Jimmy Jr. Smith, Robert Jr. Williams, Tommy Senior Cap. There it was. Fourth name on the list. Michael Jordan was officially a varsity basketball player. But instead of jumping up and down with joy, Michael felt something different. He felt ready. Like this was exactly where he was supposed to be. "Congratulations, Jordan," said Jimmy Patterson, slapping him on the back. "You earned it, man." "Thanks, Jimmy. We all did." Tommy Williams walked up and extended his hand. "Jordan, I owe you an apology. What you did yesterday in practice was incredible." Michael shook Tommy's hand firmly. "No apology needed, Tommy. You pushed me to get better." That's what teammates do. The first team meeting was held that afternoon. Coach Herring addressed his 12 players with the seriousness of a general preparing for war. "Gentlemen, last year this team won 8 games and lost 14. That was embarrassing. This year will be different. Or some of you will be watching games from the stands instead of playing in them." Michael nodded. He understood exactly what Coach Herring meant. Making the team was just the beginning. Staying on the team meant proving yourself every single day. "We have our first game in 3 weeks against Jacksonville High School. They beat us by 22 points last year. I want revenge." Practice became Michael's favorite time of day. Every drill, every scrimmage, every moment on the court felt like he was getting closer to fulfilling the secret promise. But success brought new challenges that Michael hadn't expected. During lunch one day, he sat with his usual friends from his neighborhood. They had known him since elementary Sully, back when he was just a regular kid who happened to love basketball. "Mike, you're acting different," said his friend David Thompson. "Ever since you made varsity, you seem, I don't know, more serious." "What do you mean?" "I mean, you used to joke around and have fun. Now all you talk about is basketball." Michael thought about this. Was he becoming too serious? Was the secret promise changing who he was as a person? "David, basketball is important to me. More important than you can understand." "Why?" "It's just a game." Michael almost laughed. Just a game. If only David knew about the secret promise. If only he understood what basketball meant to Michael now. "Maybe it's just a game to you. But for me, it's everything." The first varsity game arrived on a crisp Friday night in November. The Laney High School gymnasium was packed with students, parents, and fans from the community. The smell of popcorn and hot dogs filled the air. Michael's entire family was there. His parents, James and Dolores, sat in the front row wearing their best clothes. His brothers and sisters filled the row behind them. Even his grandmother, Dolly, had driven down from rural North Carolina to watch her grandson play. In the locker room before the game, Michael felt butterflies in his stomach for the first time in months. This was different from practice. This was real. This counted. Coach Herring gave his pregame speech. "Gentlemen, Jacksonville beat us badly last year. Tonight, we show them that Laney basketball has changed. Jordan, you're starting at shooting guard." Michael's heart jumped. Starting varsity as a junior was a big honor. The team ran onto the court for warm-ups, and the crowd cheered loudly. Michael looked up into the stands and found his family. His mother was crying happy tears. His father was beaming with pride. But Michael was looking for someone else too. Someone connected to the secret promise. Someone who wasn't there yet, but would be someday. The game began, and Michael played like he had been playing varsity basketball his entire life. His first shot was a 15-foot jump shot from the right side. Swish. His second shot was a fast break layup after stealing the ball. Score. By halftime, Michael had 16 points, and Laney led 40. In the locker room, Coach Herring was almost smiling. "Gentlemen, we're playing excellent basketball. Keep it up for 16 more minutes." The second half became the Michael Jordan show. He scored from everywhere on the court. Jump shots, layups, free throws, even a three-pointer that brought the crowd to its feet. With 2 minutes left in the game, Laney led 78-71. Jacksonville called timeout to plan their final attack. "Jordan, they're going to try to foul you," Coach Herring said during the timeout. "Can you handle the pressure?" Michael thought about all the free throws he had practiced in his backyard. All the times he had shot alone in the gym until his arms ached. "Coach, pressure is what I live for." Jacksonville fouled Michael on the next possession. He stepped to the free throw line with the crowd on its feet. The first free throw felt perfect leaving his hands. Swish. The second free throw followed the same path. Swish. Final score: Laney 83, Jacksonville 73. Michael Jordan finished with 32 points in his first varsity game. After the game, the local newspaper reporter Mr. Bill Henderson from the Wilmington Star-News interviewed Michael. "Son, that was quite a performance tonight. What's driving you to play so hard?" Michael thought about the secret promise, about Coach Herring's words from a year ago, about the plan that was slowly forming in his mind. "Mr. Henderson, someone once told me I didn't deserve to play basketball. Tonight was about proving that person wrong. And do you think you proved it?" "This was just one game, sir. I have a lot more proving to do." The reporter scribbled notes on his pad. "What are your goals for this season?" Michael looked up into the stands where his family was still celebrating. Then he looked at the empty spot where someday someone very important would be sitting. "My goal is to play so well that no one will ever question whether I deserve to be on this court." That night at home, Michael's family celebrated with his favorite meal, fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and green beans. "Michael, I am so proud of you," his mother said, hugging him tight. "You were magnificent tonight."
Thanks, Mama.
"But this is just the beginning." His father James raised his glass of sweet tea. "A toast to my son, who never gave up on his dreams." As the family toasted, Michael smiled on the outside. But inside, he was thinking about the secret promise, about how far he had come and how far he still had to go. Later that night, he wrote in his journal, November 18, 1979, first varsity game, scored 32 points. We won by 10. The crowd was incredible. My family was so proud, but the most important person wasn't there yet. The secret promise is getting stronger every day. Every game, every practice, every moment on the court brings me closer to the day when I can finally reveal what I really promised that night. Coach Herring thinks he's seen me prove myself, but he has no idea what's really coming. The plan is bigger than one game, bigger than one season, bigger than high school basketball. Someday, when I'm ready, I'll show everyone what those crushing words really created. The secret promise will be revealed, and the world will understand what it means to tell Michael Jordan he doesn't deserve to play. Michael closed the journal and looked out his window at the stars above Wilmington. His journey was just beginning, but he could feel destiny calling his name. The fire was burning brighter than ever, and Michael Jordan was just getting started. 2.5 years had passed since that crushing day in Coach Herring's office. Now, Michael Jordan stood 6 feet 4 inches tall and weighed 180 pounds of pure muscle and determination. His senior year at Laney High School was ending with the kind of season that legends are made of. March 1982, the North Carolina High School Basketball State Championship game. Michael had averaged 29.2 points per game during his senior season. College recruiters filled the gym every Friday night. Letters from Duke, North Carolina State, Syracuse, and Virginia arrived at the Jordan house daily. But there was one letter that made Michael's hands shake when he opened it. The University of North Carolina. Coach Dean Smith wanted Michael Jordan to play for the Tar Heels. "Son, this is the big time," his father James had said when the letter arrived. Coach Smith is one of the greatest coaches in college basketball. But tonight wasn't about college. Tonight was about finishing what he started at Laney High School. Tonight was about the state championship. The gym in Greensboro was packed with 8,000 screaming fans. Laney High School was playing against Kinston High School, a team with 3 players headed to Division I colleges. In the locker room before the game, Michael sat quietly on the bench, tying his shoes with the same careful precision he had used for 4 years. His teammates were nervous, chattering and pacing around the small room. Coach Herring addressed the team one final time. "Gentlemen, we've worked all season for this moment. 48 minutes of basketball to become state champions. Leave everything on that court." Michael nodded, but his mind was somewhere else. He was thinking about a promise he had made in his bedroom almost 4 years ago. A secret promise that had driven every practice, every game, every moment of his high school career. Tonight, that promise would finally be fulfilled. As the team ran onto the court for warm-ups, Michael scanned the crowd. His entire family was there, of course. His mother, Dolores, his father, James, his brothers and sisters, even his grandmother, Dolly, who had driven 3 hours to be there. But Michael was looking for someone else. Someone who had been invited to this game through a letter Michael had written 2 weeks ago. Someone who had no idea why he was really here. There, in Section 12, Row 8, Seat 15, sat Coach Clifton Pop, Herring's old friend and former player, now assistant coach at Kinston High School. But that wasn't who Michael was looking for. His eyes kept searching until he found him. Sitting in the front row behind the Laney bench was Coach Herring himself. Not surprising, since he was still Michael's coach. But what Coach Herring didn't know was that he was about to witness the fulfillment of something that began with his crushing words 4 years ago. The game began with the intensity of a heavyweight boxing match. Both teams knew this was winner take all. There would be no second chances. Kinston came out strong, using their size and experience to control the early pace. Their star player, Marcus Williams, was 6'6" and had already signed with NC State. He scored the first 6 points of the game. Laney looked nervous. Everyone except Michael. With 4 minutes left in the first quarter, Laney trailed 12. Gentlemen, we're playing tight. Relax and play your game. Michael looked at his teammates. They were scared. This was the biggest game of their lives, and they were choking. Give me the ball, Michael said quietly. What? Asked point guard Danny Mills. For the rest of this game, give me the ball. I'll take care of everything else. The next 8 minutes belonged to Michael Jordan. He scored from everywhere on the court. Jump shots, layups, steals that turned into fast breaks. By halftime, Laney had taken a 34-32 lead, and Michael had 18. In the locker room, Coach Herring pulled Michael aside. Jordan, you're playing like a man possessed out there. What's gotten into you? Michael looked at his coach, the man who had told him he didn't deserve to play. The man who had unknowingly created a monster of motivation. Coach, this is the most important game of my life. Why? It's just a high school championship. Michael smiled. It's never just anything, Coach. Every game matters. Every moment matters. Tonight matters more than you know. The second half was a war. Kinston fought back, led by Marcus Williams, who seemed determined to outplay the smaller Jordan. With 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Kinston led 58-55. The crowd was on its feet, screaming so loud that players could barely hear themselves think. Michael called his own timeout, gathering his teammates in a circle. Listen to me, he said, his voice calm but intense. 4 years ago, I made a promise to myself. Tonight, I'm going to keep that promise. But I need you guys to trust me. What kind of promise? Asked Danny Mills. The kind that changes everything. The final 8 minutes of the game became the stuff of high school basketball legend. Michael scored 16 points in those 8 minutes. Not just regular points, but spectacular, impossible, magical points. A three-pointer with a hand in his face. A steal that led to a thunderous dunk. A spinning layup through 3 defenders. A free throw with ice water running through his veins instead of blood. With 30 seconds left, Laney led 74-72. Kinston had the ball and one last chance to tie or win the championship. They gave the ball to Marcus Williams, their best player. He tried to post up Michael in the low lock, using his size advantage. But Michael had been preparing for this moment for 4 years. Every weight he had lifted, every sprint he had run, every shot he had practiced in his backyard, it all led to this moment. Marcus backed him down, trying to get close to the basket. But Michael planted his feet and refused to move. 15 seconds left. 10 seconds. 5 seconds. Marcus went up for the shot. Michael went up with him. The ball left Marcus's hands. Michael's hand got just enough of it to alter the shot. The ball hit the back rim and bounced high into the air. Michael grabbed the rebound with 2 seconds left on the clock. Game over. Laney High School 74, Kinston High School 72. State champions. As his teammates mobbed him on the court, Michael looked directly at Coach Herring in the stands. Their eyes met for just a moment. Then Michael walked over to the scorer's table and asked for the microphone. The crowd grew quiet, wondering what the game's hero wanted to say. I want to thank everyone who came out tonight to support both teams. Michael began, his voice echoing through the arena. But I especially want to thank someone who taught me the most important lesson of my life. He looked directly at Coach Herring. 4 years ago, Coach Herring told me I didn't deserve to play basketball. Those words hurt me more than anything anyone had ever said to me. The crowd was completely silent now. But that night, I made a secret promise to myself. I promised that someday, I would win the biggest, most important game possible. And Coach Herring would be there to see it. Coach Herring's eyes widened in amazement. I promised that I would prove those words wrong, not just by getting better, but by getting so much better that no one would ever question whether I deserved to play again. Michael held up the state championship trophy. "Coach Herring, this trophy is for you, because without your words telling me I wasn't good enough, I never would have worked hard enough to become good enough. Thank you for giving me the greatest gift anyone ever gave me. Thank you for making me prove you wrong." The crowd erupted in the loudest cheer of the night. Coach Herring stood up in the stands, tears streaming down his face. He understood now everything Michael had accomplished, every incredible game, every moment of greatness. It all started with those crushing words in his office 4 years ago. After the ceremony, Coach Herring found Michael in the hallway outside the locker room. "Michael, I don't know what to say." "Say thank you, Coach." "Thank you? For what?" Michael smiled, holding the championship trophy in his hands. "For teaching me that the best motivation in the world is someone telling you that you can't do something. For showing me that being doubted is a gift, not a curse." Coach Herring shook his head in wonder. "You planned this whole thing? Every day for 4 years, Coach. Every practice, every game, every shot I took was leading to this moment. The secret promise has been fulfilled. The secret was finally revealed." Michael Jordan's greatest motivation hadn't been glory or fame or even winning. It had been proving wrong the man who told him he didn't deserve to play. But as Michael walked out of the arena that night, he knew the secret promise was just the beginning of something much bigger. College basketball was next. And after that, who knew how far this fire would take him? August 1982. Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Michael Jordan stood in his dormitory room at the University of North Carolina, unpacking his few belongings into a small wooden dresser. The room was tiny compared to what he'd imagined college would be like, but it felt like a palace compared to the bedroom he'd shared with his brother Larry back home in Wilmington. His roommate, Buzz Peterson, was a white kid from Asheville who could really play basketball. Buzz had been following Michael's high school career through newspaper articles. "So you're the famous Michael Jordan," Buzz said, extending his hand. "Everyone around here says you're going to be something special." Michael shook Buzz's hand and grinned. "I'm going to be more than special, Buzz. A lot more." "What's that supposed to mean?" Michael thought about the secret promise he had fulfilled just 5 months ago. About Coach Herring sitting in those stands, watching him win the state championship. But that promise was complete now. It was time for bigger dreams. "It means the fire that got me here is just getting started." 2 days later, Michael walked into the Dean Smith Center for his first official practice as a North Carolina Tar Heel. The building was massive, with banners hanging from the rafters celebrating past championships and great players. But Michael wasn't intimidated. Not anymore. The skinny kid who had been cut from his high school varsity team was gone forever. Coach Dean Smith stood at center court, surrounded by some of the best college basketball players in America. James Worthy was 6'9" and destined for NBA stardom. Sam Perkins was 6'9" and could shoot from anywhere on the court. Matt Doherty was the kind of smart, tough player that championship teams were built around. "Gentlemen," Coach Smith announced, "we have one goal this season: win the national championship. Everything else is just practice." Michael nodded. He understood goals. He understood promises. And he understood that this was where his real journey would begin. "Jordan," Coach Smith called out, "you're going to scrimmage with the varsity today. Think you can handle it?" Michael looked around at players who were bigger, older, and more experienced than anyone he had ever played against. "Coach Smith, I've been handling things people didn't think I could handle my whole life." The scrimmage began, and Michael quickly realized that college basketball was like being thrown into a tornado. The players were faster, stronger, and smarter than anyone he had faced in high school. James Worthy tried to post him up on the first possession. Michael had never guarded anyone as skilled as Worthy, but something inside him refused to back down. Worthy made his move to the basket. Michael stayed with him step for step. Worthy went up for what should have been an easy score. Michael went up with him. The ball bounced off the rim. Michael grabbed the rebound. "Nice defense, Rook," Worthy said, looking impressed. But Michael wasn't satisfied with just good defense. On the next possession, he stole the ball from Worthy and raced down court for a fast break layup. The gym went quiet. "Do that again, freshman," Worthy challenged. Michael did it again, and again. By the end of practice, Coach Smith was shaking his head in amazement. He had coached great players before, but he had never seen a freshman with this combination of skill, determination, and pure fire. After practice, Michael called home to talk to his parents. "How was your first day, baby?" his mother Dolores asked. "It was good, Mama. Really good." "Are you sure you're ready for this level of competition?" Michael thought about James Worthy, about Sam Perkins, about all the great players he would face in college basketball. "Mama, I've been getting ready for this my whole life. The question isn't whether I'm ready. The question is whether they're ready for me." His father, James, got on the phone. "Son, remember what we taught you about staying humble?" "I remember, Dad. But I also remember that being humble doesn't mean accepting limits that other people put on you." The 1982-83 season began with enormous expectations. North Carolina was ranked #1 in the country, and everyone expected them to win the national championship. Michael's first college game was against Kansas, in the season opener. The crowd was electric, and the atmosphere was unlike anything he had experienced in high school. But when the ball was thrown up for the opening tip, Michael felt something familiar. The same calm confidence that had carried him through the state championship game. The same fire that had been burning inside him since Coach Herring's crushing words. He scored 22 points in his first college game, leading UNC to an easy victory. After the game, reporters surrounded him with questions. "Michael, how does it feel to play at this level?" "It feels like home," Michael answered simply. "What are your goals for this season?" Michael thought about the new promises he was making to himself. Bigger promises than the one he had made in his bedroom back in Wilmington. "My goal is to prove that a kid from North Carolina can play with anyone in the world." The season rolled on, and Michael got better with every game. He wasn't just playing well, he was dominating. Scoring 25 points one night, grabbing 12 rebounds the next, making game-winning shots when the pressure was highest. By February, the entire country knew the name Michael Jordan. But the real test came in March. The NCAA tournament. March Madness. UNC's first game was against James Madison University, a small school that had no business being on the same court with the mighty Tar Heels. Or so everyone thought. James Madison came out playing like their lives depended on it. They pressed UNC full court, made impossible shots, and refused to be intimidated by the bigger, more talented team. With 5 minutes left in the game, James Madison actually led. Timeout. The UNC bench was panicking. Coach Smith looked at his players. "Gentlemen, this is what March Madness is all about. Small teams playing with heart and hope. We need to match their intensity." Michael stood up. "Coach, give me the ball. I'll take care of this." "Jordan, basketball is a team sport." "I know, Coach. But sometimes the team needs one player to take over." The next 5 minutes belonged to Michael Jordan. He scored 12 points, grabbed 4 rebounds, and made 2 steals. UNC won 67-55, but everyone knew who had saved the day. After the game, James Worthy approached Michael in the locker room. "Rook, I've never seen anything like that. Where does that come from?" Michael thought about Coach Herring, about the secret promise, about the fire that had been burning inside him for 4 years. "James, it comes from being told you're not good enough so many times that proving people wrong becomes automatic." "Who told you that you weren't good enough?" "Everyone, at some point. But I learned to use doubt as fuel instead of poison." UNC advanced through the tournament, winning game after game. Michael played brilliantly, but he knew the real test was still coming. The Final Four. The biggest stage in college basketball, UNC's semifinal opponent was the University of Houston, led by a player named Hakeem Olajuwon, who was being called the best college basketball player in America. The game was played in the Superdome in New Orleans, in front of 61,000 screaming fans and a national television audience of 30 million people. This was the moment Michael had been building toward his entire life. Not just the state championship back in High Hall, but this, the biggest stage in college basketball with the whole world watching. In the locker room before the game, Michael sat quietly, just like he had done in high school. But this time was different. This time he wasn't thinking about proving anyone wrong. This time, he was thinking about proving himself right. Coach Smith addressed the team one final time. "Gentlemen, 40 minutes of basketball stands between us and the national championship game. Play like champions." As the team ran onto the court, Michael looked up into the massive crowd. Somewhere up there, his family was watching. Somewhere up there, people from Wilmington were cheering for the kid who used to get cut from his high school team. But Michael wasn't that kid anymore. He was something new, something that had been forged in the fire of rejection and shaped by years of relentless work. He was becoming a legend. The game began, and from the very first possession, everyone in the Superdome knew they were watching something special. This wasn't just basketball. This was art. Michael scored from everywhere on the court. He made shots that seemed impossible, grabbed rebounds over players 6 inches taller, and played defense like his life depended on stopping the other team. With 2 minutes left, UNC led 65-63. The crowd was on its feet, sensing that they were witnessing history. Houston had the ball and one last chance to tie or take the lead. They gave the ball to Hakeem Olajuwon, their best player. He tried to score over Sam Perkins in the post. But Michael came from nowhere, jumping higher than anyone thought possible, and blocked the shot cleanly. He grabbed the ball, dribbled the length of the court, and scored the basket that sealed UNC's victory. Final score: North Carolina 67, Houston. As the final buzzer sounded, Michael didn't celebrate with his teammates. Instead, he looked up into the crowd and pointed skyward, thinking about everyone who had helped him reach this moment. Coach Herring, his parents, his family, even his brother Larry. But most of all, he was thinking about the promises yet to be fulfilled, the dreams that were still burning bright inside him. The championship game was next. And after that, who knew how far this fire would take him? The legend of Michael Jordan was just beginning. March 29, 1982, New Orleans Superdome, the NCAA championship game. North Carolina versus Georgetown. Michael Jordan sat in the locker room 30 minutes before the biggest game of his young life, staring at his sneakers. The same sneakers he had worn through every practice, every game, every moment that led him to this point. Around him, his teammates were dealing with nerves in different ways. James Worthy was pacing back and forth, muttering to himself. Sam Perkins sat quietly, eyes closed, visualizing plays. Matt Doherty was checking and rechecking the laces on his shoes. Coach Dean Smith entered the locker room with the calm confidence that had made him one of the greatest coaches in college basketball history. Gentlemen, you've worked all season for this moment. 40 minutes of basketball to become national champions. But remember, this is still just basketball. Play your game, trust your teammates, and leave everything on that court. Michael nodded. But inside, he felt something different than nerves. He felt destiny calling his name. As the team walked through the tunnel toward the court, Michael could hear the roar of 61,000 people packed into the Superdome, the largest crowd ever to watch a college basketball game. When they emerged onto the court, the noise was deafening. Signs and banners filled every section. Television cameras captured every angle. This wasn't just a basketball game anymore. This was a national event. Georgetown took the court on the other side, led by their intimidating center, Patrick Ewing. At 7 feet tall and 240 pounds, Ewing looked like he could play in the NBA right now. He was the best college player in America, and everyone knew it. The Hoyas had dominated teams all season with their suffocating defense and Ewing's overwhelming presence in the paint. They hadn't just beaten opponents, they had crushed their spirits. But Michael Jordan had never been intimidated by size or reputation. The fire that had burned inside him since Coach Herring's crushing words 4 years ago had taught him that heart mattered more than height. The opening tip went to Georgetown. Ewing immediately backed down Sam Perkins and scored an easy basket. The Hoyas led 2-0, and the tone was set. This would be a physical, grinding battle. UNC answered back. James Worthy scored on a fast break. Then Michael hit a jump shot from the top of the key.
42.
North Carolina. The first 20 minutes were brutal. Every possession was a war. Every basket was earned through contact and determination. Georgetown used their size and strength to control the paint. North Carolina used their speed and skill to create opportunities on the perimeter. At halftime, Georgetown led 32-31. Michael had 10 points, but he felt like he was just getting warmed up. In the locker room, Coach Smith drew up adjustments on the blackboard. They're bigger than us, but they're not better than us. We need to run more, get to the basket, make them work on defense. Michael stood up. Coach, they think they can intimidate us with their size. But we didn't come this far to be scared now. That's right, Jordan. What do you need from us? Just give me the ball when the game is on the line. I'll take care of the rest. The second half began with Georgetown extending their lead. Ewing was unstoppable in the post, scoring over anyone UNC put on him. With 10 minutes left, Georgetown led timeout. Coach Smith looked at his players. They were tired, frustrated, and beginning to doubt themselves. Gentlemen, champions are made in moments like this, when everything is on the line, and you have to decide who you really are. Michael looked around at his teammates. These were good players, great players even, but right now they need someone to show them how to be champion. Give me the ball, he said quietly. What? Asked point guard Jimmy Black. For the rest of this game, when we need a basket, give me the ball. Trust me. The next 8 minutes belonged to Michael Jordan. He scored from everywhere on the court. A three-pointer from the corner, a driving layup through 3 defenders, a steal that led to a fast break dunk that brought the crowd to its feet. With 2 minutes left, the score was tied 57-57. The Superdome was so loud that players couldn't hear themselves think. Georgetown scored to take a 59-57 lead. UNC came down and James Worthy missed a shot. Georgetown rebounded and called timeout with 1:45 left. Coach Smith drew up a play during the timeout. We need stops and scores. Play smart, but play aggressive. Georgetown scored again. 61-57. Less than a minute left. Michael hit a jumper. Georgetown missed their next shot. UNC rebounded with 32 seconds left. Timeout. The most important timeout in North Carolina basketball history. Gentlemen, Coach Smith said, this is what we've worked for all season. One possession to tie the game and send it to overtime, or take the lead and win the championship. He drew up a play for James Worthy in the post. Jimmy, get the ball to Worthy. If he's not open, look for Perkins. The team broke the huddle and walked onto the court. 32 seconds to either become champions or have their season end in heartbreak. Jimmy Black inbounded the ball and dribbled up court. 28 seconds. 25 seconds. 22 seconds. He tried to get the ball to James Worthy, but Georgetown had anticipated the play. Worthy was double-teamed and couldn't get open. 20 seconds. 18 seconds. 15 seconds. Black looked around frantically. The shot clock was running down along with the game clock. Georgetown's defense had stopped the primary play. 12 seconds. 10 seconds. 9 seconds. In desperation, Black passed the ball to Michael on the left wing, about 17 feet from the basket. Michael caught the ball with 8 seconds left. Georgetown's defender rushed toward him, trying to force a difficult shot. 7 seconds. 6. 5 seconds. Time slowed down. Michael could see everything with perfect clarity. The defender approaching, his teammates positioned around the court, the basket waiting 17 feet away. 4 seconds. 3 seconds. Michael rose for the jump shot. The ball left his hands with perfect rotation, perfect arc, perfect timing. 2 seconds. 1 second. The Superdome fell completely silent. 61,000 people held their breath. Millions watching on television around the world waited to see if a 19-year-old freshman from Wilmington, North Carolina could make the biggest shot in college basketball. The ball reached the peak of its flight and began its descent toward the rim. Swish. North Carolina 63. Georgetown 6. The Superdome erupted in the loudest roar in the building's history. Michael's teammates mobbed him at center court. Fans poured onto the court in celebration, but Michael didn't celebrate right away. Instead, he looked up into the crowd, searching for familiar faces. His family was there somewhere, probably crying tears of joy. His friends from Wilmington were there, screaming his name. And somewhere, watching on television back in North Carolina, was Coach Clifton "Pop" Herring, the man whose crushing words had started this entire journey. Coach Herring, Michael thought, I hope you're watching, because this shot exists because of what you told me that day in your office. After the game, reporters surrounded Michael with questions. Michael, how does it feel to hit the shot that won the national championship? It feels like everything I've worked for my entire life just came true. What were you thinking when you took that shot? Michael thought about Coach Herring, about the secret promise he had fulfilled in the state championship game, about all the people who had doubted him along the way. I was thinking that this is what happens when you refuse to accept other people's limits. What's next for you? Michael looked around the interview room. College had been amazing, but he could feel something bigger calling to him. Professional basketball. The NBA. The chance to prove himself against the best players in the world. I think I'm ready for the next level. 2 months later, Michael declared for the NBA draft. The Chicago Bulls selected him with the 3rd pick, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Sam Bowie. Some people said the Bulls made a mistake. Michael Jordan was too small to dominate in the NBA. He was just a college player who got lucky with one big shot. Michael smiled when he heard these doubts. He had been hearing them his whole life. Walking into Chicago's stadium for his first NBA practice in October 1982, Michael felt the same fire that had burned inside him since that crushing day in Coach Herring's office. The Bulls were one of the worst teams in the NBA. They hadn't had a winning season in years. The fans barely showed up to games. "Jordan, welcome to Chicago," said Bulls coach Kevin Lafferty. "We need you to turn this franchise around." "Coach, I'm not here to turn anything around. I'm here to build something that's never been built before." "What's that?" Michael dribbled a basketball and looked around the empty arena. Soon, this place would be packed with screaming fans. Soon, championship banners would hang from the rafters. "A dynasty, coach. I'm here to build a dynasty." The fire that had started with rejection, grown through determination, and exploded into greatness in college, was now burning brighter than ever. Michael Jordan was ready to show the professional basketball world what that skinny kid from Wilmington could really do. The legend was no longer just beginning. The legend was about to take over the world. The secret promise that started in a small bedroom in North Carolina was fulfilled on the biggest stage in the world, proving that sometimes our worst moments create our greatest opportunities. We'd love to know where you're listening from. Drop a comment below and tell us your city or country. It's amazing to connect with listeners from all around the world who are inspired by stories like this. If this story touched your heart or taught you something new, please hit that like button. It really helps us reach more people with these inspiring tales. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for many more fascinating stories about legendary athletes, incredible comebacks, and the power of never giving up on your dreams. Most importantly, share this video with your friends and family. Stories like Michael Jordan's remind us that rejection doesn't define us. Our response to rejection does. By sharing this message, you're helping spread kindness, inspiration, and awareness that dreams are worth fighting for, no matter who tells you they're impossible. Thank you for listening, and remember, the next time someone tells you that you don't deserve something, think of that 15-year-old boy in Wilmington who turned those words into the motivation that conquered the world. Keep dreaming. Keep believing. Keep pushing forward. We'll see you in the next story.